morning, good afternoon, good evening, traders from across the globe. And guess what? Guess what? The 2650 on the year-end target was now. Hey, on the target now. Stay together, you two. Stay together, you two. Yeah, we did it. All right. So check this out. I don't know anyone else in the world that can make calls like this. We've been doing this for years and catching these Omni targets right. Now we expect 27-27. All the fanfare. You got it right, Oscar. Enough of that crap. Let's go to work. Head down, nose to the grindstone. Back to the next call. Enough. That was history. Yes, we made it. I'm very happy. Who cares? It's over. Let's move on. So, traders, 12:01:17. That's what this video is being filmed on, but it's not for trading because today's Friday and tomorrow would be Saturday. But this is for next week. I want to show you some charts and some reasoning why we've got to discuss Bitcoin. We've got to look at them indices. We've got to talk about a lot of things. In fact, just so that you know, futures trading is extremely risky, causes substantial financial losses, certainly not suitable for all traders. But if you'd like to try to win and try to get good at this game, come join us. We had great winning trades today. We had a 50-point NASDAQ win, 49-point NASDAQ win today, 8 to 10-point S&P win, small gold loss, small soybeans loss, monster wins in the indices. Rock and roll Omni. If you would like those recommendations as Omni is about to trade, join my platinum membership and see if together we can be winners. We don't always win, you know how that goes, but I'm good at what I do and you should come on down and try. Now, look at the stuff on this board. Omni target of 2650 nailed. We had our celebration. On to the next trade. Omni target number 2 of 2727 is in focus. This is the first year in 10 that I've gotten 2 targets for the year. We've already achieved 1 with weeks to go, so we can easily get to number 2. We'll see what we get for next year's targets. And then there's, forget about Bitcoin, traders. The U.S. needs its own digital currency. And let me explain. This is very important. Now, I've had, for weeks and weeks, I've had Omniacs from YouTube, from my site, from around the world say, Oscar, what about you? What about Bitcoin on YouTube? What about Bitcoin? What about Bitcoin? Oscar, what are your thoughts on Bitcoin? Oscar, what about Bitcoin? And yes, I've been doing my homework. I've been watching it. And I've got some thoughts about Bitcoin. And I've got a chart to show you as well. But let me say this. The U.S. needs its own digital currency. Now, Bitcoin has gone berserk, right? And it's, I don't know, 10,900, somewhere right near there. And if anybody wants to get into them, you need almost $11,000 to buy one coin. So Bitcoin has gotten to be like a Warren Buffett stock. You know, only the seriously wealthy can afford Bitcoin like can afford Warren Buffett stock. However, there's a reason why I think, forget about whether or not we can afford Bitcoin as traders, I think the U.S. needs its own currency, and here's why. Does anybody remember 2008, or do we all have short-term memories? 2007 leading into 2008. Henry Paulson, Ben Bernanke saved the economic world. How did they do that? Henry Paulson was smart enough to see Warren Buffett make a deal with Goldman Sachs. That deal, I won't get into details, was very, very wise. It bails out Goldman Sachs, makes them look good, gives them the money they need. This is back in 2008-9. And gives Warren Buffett all kinds of great stuff. Interest, stocks at really cheap prices, the money back, you name it. Smart deal. Henry Paulson sees it, runs to Ben Bernanke. They think it's a great deal. They give it to all the banks. That was one of the things they did. And here's why I'm mentioning that. In 2008, we had a liquidity problem. There were not enough dollars in our system, and the system started to crack. Bernanke immediately flooded this country with millions, then billions, if not trillions by the end of U.S. dollars as quickly as he could. Markets are crashing around the world. We don't know what this is going to mean. It's 2008 leading into 9. Let's flood this country with dollars and lower interest rates. And Ben Bernanke did that. And thank you, Ben, because you saved the financial world. Now let's move forward. Let's take this to Bitcoin. Ben Bernanke could not have added Bitcoin into our economy to get us out of trouble because we don't control it. The U.S. doesn't control Bitcoin. If you added Bitcoin into the liquidity, first of all, you couldn't mine them fast enough. And if you added it into liquidity, it's worldwide liquidity. How does it get the U.S. out of its troubles? How goes the U.S.? How goes the world? There is a problem with us going towards Bitcoin. Hey, yes, it's too expensive. I'm sure we'll have other digital currencies that'll be cheaper and we can do hedging against them. And maybe Europe will have their currency. But if we just go with Bitcoin, God forbid the price continues higher or worse, dumps and goes down. No one can control what we do with liquidity. Can you add money in M2, M1? Can we add money into the liquidity into the country? Can we pull the money back out? Yes, we can right now. Why? We control our own dollars. Now, I'm not afraid of the future. I think it's great, digital currency, but we should have our own digital currency backed by the good old USA, faith in the USA. You know you're going to get your Bitcoin. You know it's going to be worth what it's supposed to be worth. What if we all start relying more on Bitcoin and a hacker takes most of the world's Bitcoins away from our wallets? What do? What happens with digital currency? Even worse, whether we have our own or not. If we get to the point where we're not using currency at all and we're just using digital currency, what happens if another country comes up with a weapon that completely annihilates your internet for a year? I mean, that's going to be bad, but that's another story. That's a science fiction book. I'm more concerned with the economics of us switching towards a Bitcoin that we do not control. If the U.S. can't help us out of trouble, who can? So don't you, my point of view, and it's extremely logical, yes, digital currencies are great. We need our own. We need to add liquidity, remove liquidity, watch for counterfeiting. We need our own Bitcoin, U.S. coin. That's what we need. That's my opinion. With no further ado, let's go look at some charts. Traders, I came in front of you, I don't know, middle of the week, and I said, listen, the market looks great. Omni's got a great buy signal, but we do have rules. When we see a double top, we sell a double top, but instead of taking that, all we're going to do is put a short-term hold on buying. So we didn't sell it because we're not stupid, but we figured we'd wait a few hours, watch the double top. If it breaks through, we'll get long S&P. It broke through. We tried everything in our power to get long S&P. I missed it by $1.50 that day. No one got filled. We watched this thing go up dramatically without us, but that's okay. We caught up with it by the end of the week. So anyway, the double top didn't happen, and now let's just go forward with what we did do. After we see the double top not take place and it got violated, we started looking to get long. Now remember I showed you this chart in the beginning of the week, and I said look at this trend channel. From the top to the bottom, works its way all the way back to the top, spends a little time, works its way all the way to the bottom. What should come next? Here is what I showed you in the beginning of the week, and this is what happened right to the top of the channel. That is just perfect analysis. It went right where it was supposed to go. So that was perfect. And look at that little spot right there. You know what spot this is? 2650. The high of the day on Friday, and then we dumped from that level. Go Omni Target. Anyway, channel looking fantastic. We're likely going to take out the top of that channel. Why? Because look at the weekly on the emini S&P. This channel goes back to 2011. Nothing could get us out of it. Weekly bars, each one of these lines represents a full week. Could not get out of this for nothing. Finally, we break out of it. We're not above it a little. We're above it to here. Insanity how strong these markets are. Now, of course, markets will have pullbacks, but very healthy so far. NASDAQ. Look at the weekly NASDAQ. It was in the same channel for a long time from 2011. Broke out into its own channel, but look at all the room on a weekly. You have 50, 60 points, 80 points, 100 points just to get up here. So even if all you do is hit the top of the channel like here, it would be another 100 points at NASDAQ to get you up there. NASDAQ looks fantastic. Pullbacks we are buyers of. Dow Jones Industrial on the weekly, same sort of channel, but this only goes back to middle of 2016. But you see the attempt there to get out, and you couldn't do it and spent many more weeks in there, but look, got out and created what I like to call an Oscarism F flag, tested this line with that F flag, and did this. That is just fantastic. That is the way analysis is supposed to work. And luckily this week we were able to take advantage of it. Let's move forward. Nice charts coming up. Dow Jones Transportation Average, I put this in front of you in the beginning of this week, and I said, look at this wonderful support line. When the transportation average on the weekly hits it, it rallies up and basically makes a new high. Hits it, tries to make a new high, hits it, definitely makes a new high, right? Spends a little time making a flag, goes up, makes a new high. Comes back down and hits it, what's it do? Goes up and it makes a new high. Came back down and hit that flag again, or hit the line, I should say, and I said to you, what should happen next? So this is what it looked like in the beginning of the week, and this is what happened. I mean, wow, what more could one ask for? That was absolutely stunning, perfect result to analysis right there. Just what you'd want. Off the line, race up towards new highs. Off the line, race up towards new highs. So you gotta love the transportation average on pullbacks if it does not go straight up. And then we go to gold. Traders, this is your gold. It's been below the OMNI average for quite some time. It is time to start selling rallies in gold unless we can get above that average. It's getting tired, right? It failed here and here and here and here. Tried a few times and is getting tired, and now look at it. It's getting tired around my OMNI average. Gold on the daily looks like it wants to go down, but look at the gold weekly. This is the interesting chart. On the weekly, you've got a bear flag, but does anybody remember this chart? I put this chart right in front of us all, and we said, what is this going to be? We were right here on this week. And I said, is this going to be recorded as a double top? And we dropped into what's now known as a bear flag, which should propel us even lower. So gold is not looking all that strong. I think we're sellers of rallies there, no doubt. And then there's Bitcoin. Now, traders, I don't know how much money you keep in your digital wallet or in your trading account, but when it comes to trading, if you're paying almost $11,000 per share, I'll bet you're not buying too many of those shares now, are you? That's Bitcoin. If you look, I mean, it was like a few $100 here. This is in 1 year. Wham, up to 11,000. So can we afford that? No. Should we get other digital currencies we can afford? I think they'll come down the pipeline. But once again, the U.S. has no control over this. I don't think we should be putting all of our fortunes into a currency that can be manipulated and or counterfeited without anyone even knowing, and the U.S. has no control over it. That bothers me. I prefer a currency with rules and regulations. So traders, you've seen the charts and you've seen my idea behind Bitcoin. And I have to say, one more round of applause for my OMNI. I mean, come on. Did you see that? Go, OMNI, go. Traders, come join me at livewithoscar.com. Come join me in my free live trading room. And let's see what's going to happen if we hit 2727, rock and roll. And we'll start working on next year's projection. Livewithoscar.com. See you there. Remember, keep your emotions out of trading. One of the best things you can do to help keep those emotions at bay, and believe me, I know it's not easy, but say this to yourselves every morning, every afternoon, every evening, and you know what that is. Stops are in. Emotions are out. Rock and roll traders, I will see you all at livewithoscar.com. Futures trading is risky and can cause substantial financial loss. We do not claim or guarantee that you will profit from the information provided.